Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to attempt to beat the Elder Scrolls. Whoa, wait, hang on a second. This isn't the Elder Scrolls. This ain't even Bethesda.
What is this?
This is Fable Anniversary, and today I'm going to attempt to beat it without spending gold. Fable was one of the first Xbox games I ever owned when I woke up as a bright-eyed 11-year-old on Christmas morning, heading downstairs to find it.
Nestled safely under our tree.
Along with Halo Combat Evolved, and a demo disc with one of my favourite games on, Jet Set Radio Future, a game my wife had to special order for me 2 years ago because no one f***ing sells it. Sorry, I'm getting a bit sidetracked here. Fable makes me feel Christmassy, and Christmas is coming, so I really wanted to do a Fable challenge. So, let's go ahead and discuss the rules for this challenge before we get started. So, rule 1 is that I'm not allowed to spend any gold. Rule 2 is that I'm not allowed to make use of any exploits. This includes the Silver Key exploit. And finally, rule 3, I'd just like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. So our story begins in the idyllic, peaceful town of Oakvale. And my first mission given to me by my father is to buy a birthday present for my sister. And seeing as child labour laws weren't abolished until Fable 3, I'm currently unable to get some money in order to buy a present for her. But not to worry, because Dad's generously offered to give me a gold coin for every good deed that I perform. This involved things like finding a teddy bear for a little girl, catching a man cheating on his wife, and then grassing him up to said wife.
Wait till I get my hands on that pig!
Oh, wait, I gotta see this.
You filthy swine! I ought to chop them right off!
Once I'd performed enough good deeds, Dad gave me a few gold coins in order to buy some chocolates from a local trader. Oh, shit. Okay, I didn't think of this, but in order to progress with the game, you actually have to spend gold in order to buy chocolates for your sister. So, to summarise, no, you cannot beat Fable without spending gold. Well, I guess that'll just about do it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and no, I'm joking. See, initially I was just going to put it down to the game forcing me to do this and just kind of move on.
I don't make the rules, ma'am. I just think them up and write them down.
But if you employ some absolutely beautiful mental gymnastics, there's a very good reason why I'm allowed to do this, and I will explain it in just a moment. Trust me, I'm as surprised as you are, but there is actually a good reason I'm allowed to do this. So for now, it was time to give my sister her birthday present. Interesting side note, I'm pretty sure this scarecrow makes it into all 3 Fable games. As I was giving my sister her birthday present, bandits attacked Oakvale.
Bandits!
Well, he isn't going to be in Fable 2. Luckily, bandits can't see through the gaps in picket fences, so I was able to hide from them. I returned home to find that my father had been killed, and I was nearly killed if it weren't for a strange magic man who suddenly appeared.
Come with me if you want to live.
Maze took me to the Heroes Guild, where I spent the next few years training to become a hero. So, once I'd learned the ways of strength, skill, and will, it was time for me to take my guild seal and venture forth as a hero. At long last, it was time for me to take the skills I learned in my years of training out into the world. Now, seeing as I can't spend any gold, I'm not going to be able to buy potions, so I thought that magic might be the best way to go here. I get given a basic lightning spell to start off with, so I thought increasing my magic power might help. So my first proper quest is to defend the picnic area from a swarm of wasps. Now obviously I can't buy any better weaponry, so what I've got is pretty much what I have to use right now. And because of this, I actually thought that using magic would be the best option. See, you don't actually have to pay for stronger spells, you just get them through experience. Now there's several problems with this. First of all, I don't have enough magic, and the second reason is that the basic spells suck. Sure, I can take out the basic wasps without any issue, but the Wasp Queen was a whole nother matter. She was draining my magic reserves far too much, and obviously I wanted to use magic in order to get experience to buy better spells, However, I did quickly realise that this wouldn't work and that the crossbow would be far more efficient, not just for damage but also for combat multiplier. See, if I had a higher combat multiplier, then I could use general experience to buy better spells. Still, I managed to beat the Wasp Queen and earned the love and admiration of the locals. That's right, worship me peasants, I am your god now. Returning to the Heroes Guild, I used the experience that I'd acquired to increase my physique and my health. I then headed off to Bowerstone to meet with Maze.
But it seems there may have been another survivor. Your sister.
Whoa, stop the bus. She's still alive. I must say, as the sole beneficiary of my father's estate, I find this information quite distressing.
Make sure you replace that basic equipment while you're here.
Well, I can't replace my equipment, Maze, because I can't spend any gold, but thanks for rubbing salt into the wounds. At this point in my journey, I came to a crossroads. I could be a good guy or a bad guy, but I help protect or attack Orchard Farm. I decided to be a good guy and protect Orchard Farm because I know Santa's coming and I don't want to be on the naughty list.
Oh, thank Avo you're here. I thought no one would answer our guild request.
I met the most generic, stereotypical farmer in human history and told him that I would help protect his farm. My plan to use magic effectively went right out the window as the crossbow was the most efficient weapon. I was favouring ranged combat right now because I didn't want to risk taking too much damage. And I was on extremely low health by the time I fought Whisper. Now you can't actually use range attacks on her, at least I don't think you can. I wasn't able to anyway. However, I was able to finish her off with lightning, which I don't think she can avoid, so that's pretty cool. And with Whisper finally defeated, the quest was now complete. I returned to the Heroes Guild to level up again. Now because I can't buy anything, I anticipated that eventually I would run out of potions. I aim to remedy this by buying the Heal Life spell, increasing my magic, and buying the first perk of toughness. I also bought the Fireball spell, which would turn out to be a giant waste. Now that I can heal myself, I thought it might be time to tackle the Trader quest. Then I realised that I could actually just farm experience from the enemies in Greatwood. All I'd have to do is go in, cut them all down, leave, come back again and they'd respawn, at which point I could just kill them all over again. As I increased my experience, the enemies got harder. As they got harder, my combat multipliers increased. As my combat multiplier increased, I got more experience. I used the experience that I'd gained to buy the next level of Fireball spell, as well as increasing my speed. When I came across the toll road guarded by the bandits, I didn't even bother to talk to them. I just shot the head off the first one, and then began wiping all of them out. Now, to be fair, because everything's pretty low level at the minute, I didn't have any trouble with this. However, at one point I was in a very intense fight and paused the game to have some ice cream. When I returned to the game, I forgot what I was doing and ended up getting killed. I was now down to 2 resurrection veils, but that would be okay. I'm sure I'd find some more along the way. I returned to the Heroes Guild one more time. I was now investing heavily in health, strength and physique, as I knew it was just the best option. Eventually I arrived in Darkwood and met up with the traders that I'd be escorting through this hellish place.
The sooner we put this forest behind us, the better. There are unnatural things out there.
Okay, so let me just see if I'm hearing this correctly. You two idiots live in a kingdom with man-made roads, cities, infrastructure, and an abundance of guards. You then decided that instead of picking any of those routes, you decided to head through the territory of wild animals. And to top it all off, you then expect me to kill said animals for being protective of their own territory. Does anyone else have any better ideas? Perhaps we could go and tickle a bear's ballsack or punch a rhinoceros in the face to see what happens. I came across a third trader who'd been bitten by a balverine. Now, you can decide to let him die there or take him with you. I decided to bring him along, knowing full well that he'd simply be cannon fodder for the many bandits in the area, and he always turns into a balverine eventually anyway, so I'm not really bothered if he gets killed. The Heal Life spell also works on members of my party, so I was able to recover everyone's health at the same time. And when I got to Darkwood Camp, I found a steel axe and a resurrection vial, so that was really helpful. And finally, at this point, I'd like to explain why I was allowed to buy the chocolates at the start of the game.
Finally.
You see, the amount of gold you spend is only tracked after the tutorial and you've completed your training as a hero. I thought this would be a good place to mention this because I tried to sacrifice one of the traders to the Temple of Scorn. I thought I'd only need one, so I tried to use the wait command to get the others to stop following me. I accidentally gave one of them 50 gold. I was then forced to reload the game to before I'd accidentally given him gold. But before I'd reloaded, I sacrificed the traders to see if he'd actually give me Scorn's bow. He didn't. And this put the game into a weird glitchy kind of state where I think the game believed that the traders were actually dead and therefore couldn't follow me, even though they were very much alive. For whatever reason though, they did stop following me. And this created a scenario I've never seen before. The trader who's supposed to turn into a Balverine, he didn't. And because they didn't follow me, that meant I was able to kill all the enemies with impunity without worrying about them getting killed by the bandits.
They have a cave troll.
Now the only thing left to do in Darkwood would be to fight the troll. To begin with, I started by attacking him with my axe and trying to avoid him as much as possible. Using side rolling, this is pretty easy to do. I also finished him off using cover and then jumping out of the cover with a charged fireball, launching it at him, and then going back into cover again. All in all, as long as you're careful, the trolls really aren't that difficult. At long last, I'd made it to the Barrow Fields.
Maze seeks an audience with you again. You will find him in Oakvale Tavern.
Oh God, please make the voices stop. I really don't think I appreciate the Guildmaster contacting me in this way. I mean, imagine if you just sat on the toilet minding your own business and then his voice pops into your head. As I arrived in Oakvale, memories of my childhood came flooding back to me. This caused me to go into a full Carrie-style breakdown. Eventually, I snapped out of it though, and met Maze at the Oakvale Tavern. Why does he always want to meet me at taverns? Does he have some kind of drinking problem? Maze informed me that he might know the location of my sister, but first I'd have to find a bandit seeress.
She may be able to tell you about your sister.
But before I headed off to fight Twinblade, I returned to the Heroes Guild to improve my speed and my physique. However, before I could get to Twinblade, I'd first have to make sure I was properly attired. You see, the bandits will not let you into the camp unless you're dressed in full bandit gear. Luckily, there are chests along the bandits' road with pieces of their uniform that I can acquire. However, I will have to cut my way through all the bandits first. Now, I did have a couple of health potions, but I'd be primarily relying on my healing abilities at this time, as well as just kind of shooting them from a distance. Honestly, the bandits aren't the hard part here.
Hey, you're no going anywhere with a bandit's residence pass. There's a bloke in the tavern's got one. Practically lives there.
Oh god, it's not Maze, is it? I met the man at the tavern who said he could give me a bandit pass for 1,000 gold, so I separated his head from his shoulders and took the pass. Once I was in Twinblade's inner camp, I freed some hostages, creating a distraction which allowed me through to the man himself.
She said a guild puppet would come, and here you are.
Jesus Christ, what does this guy eat? So, Twinblade's actually quite difficult, especially with my pathetic equipment. Side note, the bandit gear that I'm wearing now is what I'll use for pretty much the rest of the game. Now, handled correctly, Twinblade is difficult, but he is manageable. You see, he has a weak spot on his back, and you have to wait for him to stick his blades into the ground, at which point he will get stuck. Then you can go around and just hit his back. It's a rinse and repeat process, but eventually you can take him down. All I can say is thank God I have my healing spell. After I'd nearly defeated Twinblade, my sister appeared as the blind seeress. It had been her all along.
No way.
I then picked off Twinblade's guards a few at a time before I actually dealt with Twinblade himself, as if you just attack Twinblade, they will all swamp you. After I defeated Twinblade and completed the quest, I returned to the Heroes Guild to increase my physique, toughness and health, as well as my magic power. So the next mission on my list was to find the archaeologist. However, before I did this, I got confused and thought I had to do a trader rescue quest. I didn't. When I do these videos, I do like to try and avoid the unnecessary quests. Basically just so I can keep them as short and as close to the point as possible. If I mentioned every single thing that I did in these challenges, you would all end up looking like this guy by the end of the video. However, while doing this quest, I did find a steel great mace, which again I will be using for most of the game. And it also will give me the experience to increase my toughness, which is like my natural armor. I then met up with Mace again, this time not in a tavern, I guess he's on the wagon. He then asked me to find his friend the archaeologist, and so I headed off to Witchwood. Now, remember how I just said that I was going to use this great mace for the rest of the game? Well, I lied. No, I just forgot, to be honest, but I don't know if the chest loot is random, but what I do know is that every time I play this game, I find an obsidian great hammer in exactly this chest. And finding the archaeologist is very easy. All you have to do is solve a basic puzzle and find him hiding out in one of the demon doors. I also found a resurrection violin here, so that was pretty cool. My next quest was to take down the white balverine that had been terrorizing the population of Knothole Glade. But first it was time to get some more power-ups. I upgraded my heal life spell and also took the slow time spell, and then headed off to Knothole Glade to fight the white balverine. Now initially you can't even get in until you deal with the basic balverines, and then you kind of just smack the white balverine around for a bit. As it turns out, the white balverine can only be hurt with silver weapons. Not to worry though, because the wife of the man the white balverine used to be knows exactly how to kill him, and she's been withholding this information from everyone. Thankfully, she's finally seen sense and realised that he's not her husband anymore. She gave me the silver augmentation to put onto my hammer, and with my new upgraded silver weaponry along with the slow time spell, I began to wail on the white balverine. Now this is actually tricky because every so often he will summon balverines and they're extremely fast. I figured my plan here would just be to go straight for the white balverine and ignore everything else. This worked out pretty well. After I'd killed all the balverines, I returned to the chief and he put a recommendation in for me to be able to fight in the arena. Now, normally when I play this game, I've exploited a money glitch to basically get the best armor and weaponry in the game by this point, so let's see how this goes without it. I upgraded my slow time spell as well as my overall health. I then started a quest to help an old woman find her grandson, and I did this specifically to get experience from killing hobs. By this point I was getting upwards of 15 times combat multipliers. And I used this experience to buy Berserk up to level 3 and increase my magic power. I then went back to the Hob Cave after I'd completed the quest to farm some more hobs for experience. I used this experience to increase my physique. I then went back, got some more experience, increased my toughness, and then went back for a third time, got some more experience and increased my health.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment, I give you Chicken Chaser!
Yeah, that's right. I can't spend any gold, so I haven't been able to change my name. It looks like Chicken Chaser will be beating the arena.
Famous for such quests as Orchard Farm and defeating ex-hero Twinblade.
Hold on, what about killing the white balverine? You know, the quest that got me the recommendation to actually get into the arena. You know what? Never mind. No, it's not even important. I don't even care. F it, let's do it. So, the arena is broken up into several different rounds. The first round will be fighting the Wasp Horde. There ain't really much to mention here, it was extremely easy. It was only at round 2 where things started to get a bit more difficult. Fighting the hobs, I would have to use the slow time spell. as well as the Berserk spell, which is quite annoying because you can knock your opponents over, meaning you can't hurt them, and because time is slowed down, you have to really wait a long time for them to get back up again. My old friend Whisper joined me in round 3 against the Balverines. Now, because of my spells such as Slow Time, Heal, and obviously Berserk, this was all quite easy. Round 4 I'd be fighting against the Undead, and they are basically made of paper. If you have Berserk, you can just smash through them without any issue. The best part is, they give huge experience multipliers. I thought I'd need some absolutely amazing armor and weaponry, as well as a lot of potions to do the arena. I know I have done in the past, but this feels really simple. Oh yeah, I'm fighting bandits now. Honestly, I don't even know if it's worth mentioning. I did have to use a few of my potions here as well as, my general Berserk spells, but other than that, it wasn't really too much of an issue. So the trolls were predictably annoying. The first one I killed very quickly, but the second one I had a really hard time actually getting to. I was getting smacked about like a ragdoll. Luckily though, I do have my healing spells and a few more potions, so everything was okay. The rock trolls went basically the same way. The only problem with the rock trolls is that their armor is a lot higher, which means it takes them a lot longer to kill. And finally, the last thing I had to kill in the arena was a giant scorpion called a Arachnox. Truthfully, there should be a technique to this. There really should. But to be honest, because I'm actually quite powerful now, all I have to do is attack its weak point when it's open, and generally just avoid getting hit too much. All in all, the arena is a lot easier than I remember it. After I'd taken down Arachnox, I thought, hey, I'd done it, arena complete. But no. Little did I know that an extra from Eyes Wide Shut was on standby to give me one final mission. Jack wanted me and Whisper to fight each other to the death in order to get the bonus prize.
You two, fight to the death!
Of course, I can't spend gold in this challenge, so the bonus prize means absolutely nothing to me. I beat Whisper fairly easily and got the hell out of there, avoiding the pile of gold on the way out, as there was no point in taking it. Then Jack gave me a backstory of my family history, told me something about my mother.
She lives now in complete solitude, crushed by her failure to save her family long ago.
Wait, hold on, so she's not dead either? Jesus Christ, doesn't anyone stay dead anymore? Honestly, at this point, it really wouldn't surprise me to find out my father's still alive and is some kind of professional tap dancer of the Bowerstone Theatre Society.
So, you finally met Jack of Blades. I met him long ago, of course, when he burned down our home and cut out my eyes.
Oh great, more tragic backstory. Here's a question for you guys. Does anyone else think this Teresa is the same Teresa from Fable 2 and 3? So, I really enjoy this part of the game because now I'm actually going to be able to fight the undead. The undead provide a huge amount of combat multipliers, as well as being slow and quite easy to hit. Also, they fall over extremely easily. Once I had a high enough combat multiplier, I drank an Ages of Will potion that I found. Whilst these potions are only designed to provide a small amount of experience, with a high combat multiplier you can get an insane amount of experience. Returning to the guild, I increased my physique and maxed out my toughness. I also bought the Divine Fury spell levels 1 to 3 and maxed out slow time.
Welcome to Barstone North, hero. This is a quiet district and we like to keep it that way.
We don't take kindly to your types in here.
So, do you remember that funny old man that I found hiding inside a demon door, the archaeologist? Well, I have to go rescue him again. My objective was to make it through to Lichfield Graveyard, which means I now get to fight a lot more undead again, which is really good for my experience pools. And although yes, it would have been nice to have some decent armor for this, because I'd maxed out my toughness, I was actually getting on okay. Initially I headed through to Lichfield Graveyard to pick up a spade. I then headed to Fisherman's Creek to rescue the fisherman and get a free fishing rod. Who needs money, am I right? I then headed back to the guild to increase my guile and accuracy, because I initially had this idea that I could steal some armor from Oakvale, but it didn't really work out, and I'm not going to mention it any further in this video because I wasted a lot of time trying. So fighting my way through Jack's minions wasn't exactly difficult, however they do take a lot of damage. I did have a couple of guardsmen to help me, and something that's really cool is when I use my heal life spell, I will also heal the members of my party as well, so I was able to heal the guards. So the final part in rescuing the archaeologist is actually timed, and if you don't kill all of the minions, not just reach him, but kill all of the minions, then you will fail the entire mission. Well, I think in Fable Anniversary it'll just reset from this part. Thankfully, because I had an amazing heal life spell, I managed to keep all of the guards alive. Well, I had 5 with me anyway. I also used a combination of Berserk and the slow time spell effectively to smash my way through everything. Pretty much okay.
You saved me, but then I'd still be safely in my cave if it wasn't for you.
Well, stay here and rot, you stuck-up bitch.
Once the quest was finally complete, I returned to the guild again to level up, increasing my health, speed, and accuracy. Now that I had confirmation that my mother was held up in Jack's Bargate prison, I had to break in and rescue her. In order to do this, I would first have to pass through the Old Kingdom gates of Lichfield Graveyard that had not been opened in generations.
You want to go through them Old Kingdom gates? I tell you they ain't been opened for generations.
Yes, well, thank you for confirming what I just said. So in order to do this, I would need access to the Demon Door. To get access to the Demon Door, I would first have to help Nostro, whose armor and weaponry has been stolen. So again, this means fighting my way through hordes of undead, which is amazing for my combat multiplier. Although at this point, without spending gold and getting some decent armor, I am actually very powerful. And because I have a heal life spell, dying isn't really an issue either.
My armor, my helmet, my sword and my shield. Gather for me in the path I shall yield.
After recovering Nostro's weapons and armor, I met the snootiest demon door ever.
I'll let you through then. Be careful though. I don't want your finger marks all over me.
Then it was simply a case of smashing my way through a lot more undead, finally revealing the way into Bargate Prison.
I told you. Touch me again, and I'll wring your neck.
Okay, listen lady, I think you've got me confused with someone else.
Wait. I know you.
No, you really don't.
It's a trick. You're not my son. The bastard's playing with my head.
Okay, so it would appear that Mother Dearest has been locked up in Bargate Prison for many years, and tortured to the point of absolute insanity. Not ideal, but I'm sure we can work with this. All we need to do is break her out of prison and... Oh look, Jack's here.
Come. It isn't polite to leave without saying goodbye.
It's also not very polite to raid a village, killing all of the occupants, cut out my sister's eyes, and throw my mother in prison for 20 years. But I guess I'm just splitting hairs here. So at this point, I've been caught by Jack and thrown into one of his charming little cells. I don't have my equipment and I can't use any magic. The only way to actually get out of Bargate Prison is to partake in a race with the other inmates put on by the cell guards, because I guess they take bets on it or something. The winner will be given the opportunity to hear a poem recital from the captain of the guard. This will give me an opportunity to steal a cell key. However, you will always fail on your first attempt and have to redo the race. After completing the race for the second time, I was able to steal a key and managed to escape the cell. I then found a stick which I beat a guard to death with, before finding all of my equipment in a chest next door. Now, the guard uniforms that you find in Bargate Prison actually provide a better armor rating than the bandit armor, so I'll be using that from now on. After rescuing my mother for the second time, all I had to do was kill a few guards and escape. What the fuck is that?
The Kraken!
So for the most part, fighting this thing is effectively just a waiting game. it's best to just kind of wait for it to attack you and then hit it with your hammer or whatever you have. But it can be annoying, and I did take a decent amount of damage fighting this thing. However, I used a few health potions that I'd found, as well as my healing spells. I took it down with relative ease because at this point most things were just becoming easier as I gained experience.
Well, looks like you didn't turn out too badly after all.
Now that I'd rescued my mother, we'd have to try and formulate a plan to stop Jack from getting the sword. Then she shot me up with an absolute boatload of experience and sent me on my way. Once I'd escaped Bargate Prison, I decided it was time to try and take the Harbinger. Now the Harbinger is an extremely powerful sword that has been embedded in a rock. Now I suppose that this is a nod to the legend of King Arthur and Excalibur. That might have been the wrong cutaway. I don't know folklore very well. But King Arthur can keep his sword because the Harbinger does 198 points of damage. This means that I can now one-shot some enemies and I'm extremely overpowered. I mean, look at just how easy I take down this troll. I mean, I'm under no illusion Jack's not going to be easy, and the summoners in the DLC certainly won't be either. My next objective was to get to Hook Coast.
That magical barrier wasn't there before.
But there's a magical barrier blocking whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing, so I have to head back to the guild to see Mother. I took this opportunity to once again increase my magic power, maxing it out. I also increased my speed and accuracy. When I finally arrived in Maze's quarters, I found that my mother had given me an early Christmas present. Only once again, she was being kidnapped. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have wasted so much time leveling up. Okay, I'm sorry, but this is starting to get ridiculous now. This woman gets kidnapped more than Princess Peach. Still, I managed to get the book, and as the plot would have it, the guildmaster can translate it for me, and speak the incantations through the guild seal. Well, that seems bloody convenient. Oh, thank God, Maze is here. Well, he'll know what to do.
Your sister. I know. I had to tie her up. Jack is controlling her somehow.
He's lying. He's the one working for Jack.
You know, looking back, I think this might be where my trust issues originate from. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie here, Maze was hard. Like, seriously hard. To begin with, I couldn't actually hurt him. First of all, he kept blocking my attacks. He also had a force shield. I tried shooting him with arrows as well as using slow time, but nothing seemed to be getting through. I don't know if the game's programmed in such a way where you can't damage him for a while to stop you killing him quickly, on the off chance that you are overpowered. And as you might have noticed there, I actually died and lost a resurrection veil. Now, it is very lucky that you can find these throughout the game, because he used a few of them. Even after I was finally able to start doing some damage against him, this fight did not become any easier. He also had banshees helping him. To be totally honest, I don't actually think having decent armor would have helped here, because Maze is using magic. But this fight was extremely frustrating. In the end, it basically just turned into me repeatedly hitting him, without using berserk or slow time or anything. I just wanted him dead. 3. That's 3 resurrection vials now. Oh, thank God he's finally dead, I hope.
For some of us, the only quest, is to escape death. Whatever the cost. And it looks like I failed.
Yeah, okay, so I used 3 resurrection veils in that fight, Maze. Also, like, ghosts exist in this world, so you can still come back as a ghost. Oh, he's gone. Okay, never mind then. With Maze defeated, there's nothing standing in my way now except Jack himself. However, Maze explained that Jack is using a key to activate the focus sites around Albion, which will help him retrieve the Sword of Aeons. Although, to be honest, it seems like Jack's so damn powerful he doesn't even need it. So my only objective now is to stop Jack, and I have to chase him around Albion as he tries to activate the focus sites. Now, to be honest, you don't actually need to kill any of the enemies when chasing him, but I did anyway for a bit of experience.
So Maze couldn't hold you. He wouldn't have seen the end of the day anyway. He had outlived his usefulness.
Oh great, classic James Bond supervillain explaining the plot and toying with his food when he should be killing the protagonist.
There's nothing we could do. He has power like none I've ever seen.
Okay, first of all, have you seen everything I've done? And secondly, yeah, I'm gonna go kill this guy.
What a touching family reunion. The mother, the son, the daughter, and the sword. There's only one thing missing.
Yeah, Dad's missing. Except, hold on, let me think about this for a second. In order to get the sword, Jack needs everyone from my family's bloodline present, right? So my mother's there, my sister's there, I'm here. Does that mean Jack's my father? I mean, I know he's not, but it would make for an interesting conspiracy all the same. Okay, so as expected, the fight with Jack is extremely difficult. To begin with, you can't kill him until you destroy his minions. Then you can kind of hit him before he erects these weird pillar things out the ground that you will have to hide behind when he unleashes waves of attacks. But you can just shoot him with arrows, hiding in cover and then jumping out when you need to. This fight was extremely easy, and certainly a lot easier than the fight against Maze. And as long as I didn't do anything stupid, I was able to kill Jack with relative ease. Okay, now for a moral dilemma. It seems that I can sacrifice my sister and claim the Sword of Aeons for myself, or I can cast it into the fire. Now, I'm not going to lie here, I actually tried to kill Teresa and take the sword for myself, but I think I pressed the wrong button and accidentally destroyed the sword. Finally beating Fable Anniversary without no wait, there's more. You see, there was a time where that was the base game and that was it. However, this game was actually made before the days of DLC content, at least any that I'm aware of. I seem to remember the word expansion pack being thrown around back in those days. In order to get the extra content, you actually had to buy the game again, like the full disc with the extra content on it. So I ended up having 2 copies of this game. Oh man, I feel old now. So by this point in the game, I'm already an unstoppable god. My armor absolutely sucks, but I have decent weaponry. I upgraded my heal life spell once again before heading to the boasting platform to hear what a new hero, Scythe, had to say.
Hurry, before all is lost.
Scythe? Scythe!
So as it turns out, there's a demon door that absolutely no one noticed before. And behind it, there are these prophets who will help me get the fire heart so long as I solve a puzzle and free them from their prison. I freed all but one. The last one was quite rude to me, so I killed him, but it doesn't matter because you can still get the fire heart.
You bastard! You just don't care, do you? Chop chop! Hurry it up, will you? What? What have you got against me? Why does nobody like me? Ah!
Also, as it turns out, destroying the Sword of Aeons isn't going to hurt me, because I've been gifted a new sword called Avo's Tear, which is exactly the same as the Sword of Aeons. My objective now is to head to the Northern Wastes in order to help the hero Scythe in combating the new enemy. Creatures called Summoners had appeared and had been terrorizing the local population. There were minions here as well, which didn't really make a lot of sense because I thought Jack controlled them. But I'm pretty sure that won't come up again later. So in order to find out what the hell was going on, I had to activate an oracle. In order to do this, I had to find some rune tablets that were scattered around a local graveyard, a city called Necropolis, where nobody knows that they're actually dead. So I'm basically just running about this graveyard city trying to find these rune stones and listening to the maddening whispers of the dead.
My family.
slip slowly into madness.
So it seems there's a few souls that I'm going to need, but before this I returned to the guild and maxed out multi-strike. I feel like this is going to be very useful. So in order to get the souls I need, there's basically two ways that I can do anything, the good way and the evil way. So the first soul that I needed was the soul of an arena hero. Now obviously I fit the bill, but that wasn't going to work, so I decided to kill Thunder instead. The second one was the soul of the heroine. There were two people that fit the bill here, Briar Rose or my mother. Really I could have just killed her, but I didn't want to because she seems like a pretty cool character to be honest. So I just defeated some banshees and took my mother's soul instead. And last but not least, I needed the oldest soul. Now I had two options here once again. I could kill the Guildmaster or I could kill Nostro. But Nostro's already dead, so I thought, yeah, let's just go for him. Also, he willingly offers his soul, whereas the Guildmaster hides up in the woods like a coward. And with all the souls acquired, there was nothing left to do but fight. Jack, again? Really? Only this time he's a dragon.
I am no mortal man. The gods and demons you fear and worship are as nothing to me.
So the second fight against Jack actually was difficult. You see, there's only certain times you can actually hit him, and unfortunately shooting Jack with arrows did seem like the better option here. I wanted to just get up close and just beat the hell out of him, but he was moving about too much for all that. Also, there are times where he'll fly down and breathe fire, which will do some serious damage if not avoided. He managed to kill me once using one of my resurrection vials. Eventually though, by the time he got down to about half health, he decided to land, and I used my berserk to beat him to death. I really hope he doesn't make a Palpatine return in Fable 4, because that was terrible. Still, I managed to beat Fable Anniversary without spending any gold. Okay, so I thought this was going to be really difficult. Every time I play this game, I always find a way to, use a gold exploit to get lots of gold early on and get the best armor. But it turns out that experience counts for a whole lot more. As long as you get loads of experience and level up your character, you become an unstoppable god. This is actually the first Fable challenge that I've ever done on this channel, so just let me know if you guys liked it or if you want to see more like this. But all in all, I really enjoyed this challenge, and I hope to do more Fable challenges in the future. I mean, I don't want to piss off the algorithm too much, but, it would be nice to expand into other games, so let me know what you guys think. Also guys, I'll just show you my records real quick. You can see that I haven't actually spent any gold during this challenge. I like games that actually include these kind of nonsense statistics because it actually allows you to prove that you've done it. And finally, I'd just like to thank you all so much for watching today. If you did make it this far, please like, subscribe and all that good stuff. Leave any comments if you do have any. And if I get this out just before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas, guys.